So what is it like for youngsters? Different world, isn't it? Different pressures, just getting on the housing ladder and all that stuff. Well, let's talk to Amy Jo Randalls and Sophie Reid and Gavin Stewart. Now, Sophie and Gavin are members of the Scottish Youth Parliament. Amy Jo Randalls, first to you, though. You've got a little issue that you've bought a house. How is that going for you?
Hi there. Yeah, so we did. I was lucky enough with my partner and myself. We managed to buy a house about a year and a half ago, which has been lovely. I do think it was pure luck. I'm not one of those people that says like, oh yeah, we worked hard so anybody can do it. I do think it was mostly luck. Unfortunately, we are up for remortgage in December, so that's going to be a little bit interesting. I've got no idea how that's going to go. So yeah, we have a house, but it's not going to be the end of worrying about bills or random rises and how much you're paying every month for them.
So, I mean, without being daft, the existing interest rate will be what, 2%-ish? Is that right?
Yeah, I think we've got about 3% on the mortgage we've got just now.
And you're thinking, well, it might go to 6% or more.
Yeah, we're hoping to get between 5 and 6%, but that just feels rubbish because, even a month ago we were hoping that we'd be going down to 2%, not, doubling what we're already paying.
Let me bring in everybody. So Sophie Reid, we were keen to talk to young people about how they view the world just now. So when with a blank canvas, here we are in effectively a recession, interest rates are going up. It's really difficult for youngsters to get onto the property market. Most of them are not throwing away the money is the wrong phrase, but most of them have money going out the building when they're paying for rental accommodation. What's your position and how do you view the world in economic terms just now for younger people?
Yeah, I think it's really important that we uphold young people's rights throughout this crisis, especially with the government's actions on this. And I think that we see the impacts across so many different issues.
What rights?
So, for example, we have a campaign priority on the right to food at the moment, that all young people should have a right to food. And so we have an open consultation currently ongoing. However, from what we've heard already, young people think that food banks are part of the welfare state. So there's that misunderstanding of what is government support and what isn't.
But the counter-argument to that, of course, is that food banks are a redistribution of wealth, aren't they? Because you can't get the government to do everything. The government can't do everything. You've got the NHS people would argue the NHS would struggle without many of the charities' input. So much of what happens outside government work, a lot of people would say is essential.
Yeah, and I think that covers other issues, but there is the importance of government action. So, for example, on universal free school meals, we have policies on that, and we think that although that covers some primary school students, it should be extended. No child should go to school hungry, because that impacts on educational attainment and on so many wider issues. Sure. But I think another right that does need government support is the right to youth work. And that youth work plays such a vital role in supporting young people's needs and in poverty reduction. And it's important that the government protects youth work during this crisis. Okay,
Gavin, to you then. When you look at the world just now, and how old are you, Gavin?
I'm 18.
So when you look at the world as an 18-year-old in Scotland, what do you see in terms of the economics?
I see people struggling. There's lots of talk about high-level economic terms, but then when you come down to it and you look at what's actually happening in the world, is you're seeing people struggling. For me, something that I've been doing campaign on through the youth work is about rent controls, as you were saying. So I passed a policy of the Scottish Youth Parliament, so we now support a points-based system of rent controls. I did that in the summer, because we are seeing rent increasing, even at the rate of inflation. We're seeing rent increasing higher than that, and that especially affects young people disproportionately. Young people are more likely to be lower income. Young people are disproportionately likely to be renting more than anything else, and also they're more likely to be students, and that all those are limiting factors in terms of their housing, their accommodation. We're also seeing as well.
So are you a student and are you renting?
So I'm not currently renting, but I'm at Glasgow Uni, which has had a lot of talk about difficulties with accommodations, and I know people in my courses who asked for accommodation, this so-called accommodation guarantee that they gave, and didn't get it. They were not guaranteed the accommodation that they were told they could get, which is another issue above and beyond accommodation being too expensive, is them actually not being able to get it in the first place.
Sure. Sophie, are you renting somewhere? Where do you live?
I'm currently staying at home. I'm a university student as well, and I don't think that I would be able to be in a financial position where I could rent. I just think at the moment, I would love to be able to, move out and have my own place, but I just don't have that financial stability. And as Gavin talked about, I work a part-time job in a restaurant, and I'm on a 0-hour contract, and I would not be guaranteed that stability that I would need to be able to go into a rented accommodation.
It's a strange world for youngsters, isn't it? All three of you, because you're at university and that's paid for, but there are really poorly paid jobs to help you with the cash just now. And then when you step off the kind of university ladder into employment, Amy Jo Randalls, it's hard to get mortgages. It's hard to get flats and properties, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really, really difficult. The only reason that myself and my partner were able to get a mortgage was because my partner was in full-time work at the time. I wouldn't have been able to get one with my student status. The subject I'm studying, marine biology, does not have a lot of high-paid work, if the work is paid at all. Quite often you have to pay to work in that industry when you're starting out. So if you've not got, any cash left over, it looks like it's going to be a massive struggle. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to deal with that when I do eventually graduate.
All right, Amy Jo, Sophie, Gavin, listen, thank you very much indeed for your input.